All right, 1097, number one for hip hop is TT Torrez, hanging out with my girl, Muni Long. Is it Money or Muni? Because we was having this debate. And I'm like,
it's money.
It's money.
Yeah, it's money.
I was having this debate with someone yesterday. I'm like, no, it's Muni. I was like, no, it is not. Bet me $1,000 right now. I'm going to ask her when she coming. Yes.
So you won. Period.
I'm getting my $1,000.
Period.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
I guess people probably always get it wrong, right?
Yeah, it's okay. Because, one thing about it, like when people mispronounce your name and you correct them gently, they never do it again.
Yes.
So like a lot of people, they be like, oh my God, Muni, I love your music. Da, da, da. And if there's an appropriate like moment, I'll just be like, oh yeah, money. And they be like, oh my God. It's okay.
You come across as such a real chick. Like I follow you on Instagram but you come across like sweet, but yet very direct. Like,
yes.
Like you don't play no games.
No. No, I prefer to be nice because it just makes me feel good. But like, I have a strong dislike for bullies. Anything that's like unnecessarily rude, mean, selfish.
The underdog.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
So like, if I feel like that line is being crossed, I'm like, hold on, are you okay? Do you need a hug? Like, I ask first before I go off.
What's your sign?
Virgo.
Okay, my son's a Virgo.
Oh.
He's like that too. I'm a Leo and he's a Virgo.
Ooh, how's that?
We balance each other pretty well. Yeah. You know what it is about Virgos that I love the most about them is that they have that zero tolerance for bullies that you're speaking about. And they also have this desire to be with the underdog and want the underdog to win.
Yeah, I always used to sit at the table with like the uncool kid, the one sitting bottoms. I was always like, hey. Like I always do that. I don't know why I do that.
And it's so funny because his teachers tell me that all the time. Like there's this girl, she comes from a different country and she doesn't speak English that well. And she's very quiet in class. And he's like, come on, you could do it. Speak a little louder. Like he's so always sweet. Like sitting at the table with the so-called uncool kids or pushing them along. And I think that's what makes Leos, even though people would be like, oh, Leos and Virgos, I don't know about that. But we have that similarity in terms of like wanting the underdog to win and always pushing the one that is talented but yet maybe not be seen the most. So I think that's why Leos kind of do get along with Virgos.
I think too, like I have a little bit of that shyness in me, but I want what I want more than I like am embarrassed. I have no shame. Like don't ever try to embarrass me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, that's what you want to do. Well, why don't we go ahead and tell them about this?
You want to tell your story before somebody else tells that story.
Absolutely, because if I did it, why am I ashamed?
Well, that makes you a great songwriter, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you think about the songs you have written in the past for artists that we didn't even know that you have written for, Fifth Harmony, who else? Rihanna,
Chris Brown, Madonna, Mary J., Mariah, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez.
Flex on them. Okay. All right. But that makes you a great songwriter, right? Because you're able to tell those stories and push artists to be able to tell those stories and like a visionary.
I mean, whatever is most personal is most universal. I heard that at a USC graduation a few years back, and it really resonated with me because a lot of times people think they're the only one going through something. So when they hear someone else talk about it, and especially talk about like that, such like that nuanced feeling, and you're like, oh, that's exactly how I feel. I think there's power in vulnerability because it's like, and what about it?
Yeah. Yeah, and you owning it, right? And there's some scary parts of ourselves that sometimes we are afraid to share with the world because we don't know necessarily how they will perceive it. So we hold back on those parts of us, especially women. I think sometimes, especially mixed in with the internet, right? It's like, should we tell these stories, or the fear of being judged, or like, embarrassment. But I think what you're saying is like so true, because you got to be able to use that story for power and take it away from somebody else.
Yeah. I used to think though, like, not having any shame is different from like believing that you have to behave a certain way in order to get ahead. And so I used to think that, presenting myself in a certain way would somehow elevate me. And when I realized that the math doesn't math, I was like, oh, F them people. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't care what you think. So, like,
Yeah, and being your most authentic self, right? And I think that gravitates people to you more, is just being who you were. Like this record you put out, right? Just exploding and doing what it does. Like, could you have imagined that it being this?
No. I mean, I think I prepared myself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, metaphysically to now that I'm in this place, it feels normal. It feels like I'm supposed to be here. But when I was making the music, I did not have the vision in my mind like this gonna be the one, this gonna blow up. You know, I just knew that if I kept being true, being pure, making music that I wanted to play over and over, that eventually one of them suckers was gonna release something. So one of them.
You believed. You believed.
Yeah, I mean, because there's just no way. It's like I've done it for so many years, for so many other artists with the same formula. Just have fun, tell the truth, make it rhyme, you know. And I just literally did the same thing for myself. So I knew that obviously with visibility and consistency and building my social media presence, connecting with my supporters, talking to them, making them feel like, you know, they know me, which a lot of them I do like speak to on a regular basis. That one of them was going to do something.
Because even if like you have, people get it twisted. If you have, I'd rather have 100 loyal followers who are dedicated to me and that are engaged with what I'm doing musically than to have 1,000 of them who are not engaged with what I'm doing. And I would want to super serve them because they truly are the ones that buy my music, support me, will buy a ticket to my show. And the other ones are just spectators, right? And so I think that's important for artists, especially newer artists, to understand that that's a solid fan base and you just build upon that.
Yeah, I think you have to like, you build a house brick by brick. Like you cannot just decide, okay, I'm gonna buy this land, move into the house. There's no house yet.
Yeah.
You know, you have to like literally person by person build a fan base. Like this is part of what helped the song blow up so quickly and be so viral in such a massive way. Reposting other people's content that was, you know, acknowledging them, liking all the comments, responding to DMs. It got to a certain point where I couldn't do that because it was just too much. But it really, like, people couldn't believe, like, oh my God. And they still say it now, like, you really talk to it. Like, you really be responding to our comments. Like, yeah, girl, you know, some of that stuff is funny. Y'all funny. They be making me laugh.
But did you ever think a moment in your career as you're working with all these amazing artists that you just ran down, did you ever have that concept, why not me? Like, why isn't, like, during the process of grinding and getting to where you are now, did you ever have that moment of, like, disparity where it's like, why not me?
Of course, many times. But I think I had to, like, figure out the formula first. I had to figure out what I wanted to be. And I think sometimes, you know, you have to be a very evolved human or spirit to, like, realize that you don't have to learn through trauma. You can learn through joy. A lot of us, like, either something very traumatic happens to us or you get late in life and you realize, like, wow, I could just choose to, like, pick an experience and be happy. And, you know.
That's big. That is a big statement.
Yeah, so I had to learn through trauma.
Well, but that's a big statement. You can choose to learn through joy. Gosh,
but most of us, though, that's not the way we're programmed.
No,
it's like you gotta grind out, you gotta pay your dues, you gotta, you know,
you gotta do all this. You can't have kids, you can't date, you gotta be focused to the work, you gotta be up 24/7, you can't sleep. You constantly gotta be on your phone. It's like, bro,
if you wasn't broke, you ain't get it out the mud. Like, we have a suffering mentality. Just overall, like, faith is attached to suffering for some reason. And so, I mean, I think it makes people easier to control. But, you know, I realized that after I went through the period of, like, suffering and just feeling torture, feeling like like sometimes I would show up to the studio and be writing and have a frog in my throat. Like I just wanted to scream, or I would be in the corner like, oh. I just want to strangle myself right now. I would be so upset, like, or crying before I go.
Yeah,
Like,
child, there have been plenty of times I have been in the studio, crack the damn mic, hi, blah, 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 and then turn the mic off and been balled up in the corner. You know what I'm saying? I think, we all have had that feeling, a feeling like the world is closing in on us.
Yep. But I think it was like realizing, like, wait a minute, okay, I've tried every different iteration of this. None of this is getting me what I want. None of what you're saying is working. That's cap. So the only thing that works is when I unplug and do what I want to do. And if I can do that for long enough, which the pandemic for me was a huge blessing, because it just made everybody else pause. So I could focus and I didn't have the distraction of like 20 people. Yo, I need a song. Yo, I need you to show up. Blah, 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 blah. This person, name dropping, trying to bribe me with trips to write and like all this type of stuff. And normally I would take it because I'm just like, actually, I would love to go to Bali.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I would love
amazing.
to work with my idol, or somebody I love.
Or you don't want to say no and then be on somebody's poop list forever.
Yeah.
So the pandemic really gave me that pause to have that focus to work on what I wanted to work on. All the people who I wanted to work with were available. I had the money.
And you had the respect because you built that through the writing career. So they knew
funny enough, a lot of people, I refused in the beginning, do not use the name Priscilla. Do not. Really? Like, I want it to be brand new.
By the way, that's my mother's name.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, she must be pretty. Yeah, so I was like, don't use Priscilla. I do not want to, and there was some resistance to that in the beginning. Like, but you built this reputation. I'm like, it doesn't matter. No one cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one cares all the songs that Prince wrote for other artists. They don't care that Michael or Janet or Stevie or who else? Lionel Richie. They don't care that they wrote for other people. They just know
the star.
Right. It doesn't equate.
Yeah.
So there was pushback. But I think the surprise was so much better. Like, when people were calling me, when
like,
Hours was blowing up, like, yo, your video just popped up on my screen. I'm like, that's Priscilla. Rodney Jerkins called me. Monica, that happened with her. A lot of people were like, yo, you really did that. Like, that's crazy. And my mom always said, don't tell people where you're going because they'll get in your way. So that was like an amazing example of that.
Yeah.
Nobody saw me coming by the time I was here. It was too late.
You was already here.
Too late, baby. Y'all should never let me in.
Now it's going up and Def Jam is dropping me the bag and
Period.
it's over,
Money moves.
So how did the name come about though? So you went from Priscilla. So how did you come to, this is what I want my artistic name to be?
So I tried many different names over the years and none of them really stuck. But I was doing one of my studies one day and I was researching this sage named Muni. It was like M-U with the 2 accent dots, N-I. And it means to think deeply from within in Filipino. And so it was like, I'm really into like metaphysical, existential, like law of attraction and cleansing spiritually and God, like how that relates to all of the spiritual things. So I was doing that research and I shared it with my husband. And he was like, that's dope. You should pronounce it money, though. Wow. And I was like, oh, that's fire. So for the first 6 months, it was just money. I did not have a last name. And then we went to Atlanta. And like halfway through that trip, it was supposed to be a month and it turned into 3. And then the team was like, yo, we think money need a last name, bro. We think money need a last name. So I'm like, okay. Money Gold, Money Smith, like I'm just brainstorming. And 2 Chainz is one of my favorite artists, also signed to Def Jam, also a Virgo. And his song came on, Hair Long, Money Long. Me and bro, we don't get along. I was like, Period. Money Long. So and obviously it's a cultural colloquialism. We say that all the time.
Yeah.
It just fit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me about your upbringing. Like, are you from Atlanta, or you just spent a lot of time?
Spent a lot of time in Atlanta. I'm from Florida.
Okay.
So Southern.
Very
country. I'm actually from the same town as YNW Melly.
Okay.
Yeah, so he went to high school with my little brother.
Wow.
Very small. It's called Gifford.
Okay.
Some of the streets still don't have pavement.
Wow.
Yes. Pretty bad.
Now, so growing up in this Southern environment, obviously I spent a lot of time in the South myself, and it's a very soulful place in South Carolina and Charleston, and I've done radio in Richmond, and I've been in the Carolinas, and it's just a soulful environment. Like church on Sunday, Wednesday,
Tuesday,
Bible
Thursday.
Study Friday, Revival Week,
Women's study on Saturday.
Women's study, Young Youth Ministry, the choir. So I know all about all that. So was that kind of your environment growing up, and where that spark for the love of music came from?
Music's been in my family forever. My biological father sung. He played the trumpet. My mom sings as well. It was just, I thought it was something that everybody could do. And then, of course, like I didn't have a choice. They would volunteer me to sing at church, and the funerals and weddings and the national anthem. And just, I had to. I didn't have a choice. So, like, it was just a part of my
Priscilla,
childhood.
get up here and sing this song.
She'll do it. I used to be like, hey, mama, I don't want to get up
Sister
here.
so-and-so husband died. We need you to sing.
I don't want to be up here by this dead body. Like, I used to have to do it.
We need the eyes on the sparrow, girl. Ain't nobody can sing that
for
but you.
Eyes on the Sparrow, Shackles, Mary, Mary. They always wanted me to sing the Lord's Prayer. God, I hated it.
But it was in your blood. So here you are singing.
Well, I will say, like, leading praise and worship and doing that really taught me how to, like, get out of the way and just, allow that energy, spirit, the anointing just take over. So that part of it was very much, like, priceless information.
Do you feel that anointing now still when you go on stage and you really immerse yourself in your performances with your fan base?
Well, I was supposed to. So my tour got canceled, or we decided to postpone until I could heal up because I had some respiratory issues, some vocal issues. And so we just felt like it was dangerous to try to push it. And although I would have pushed through, it just wouldn't have had a good result in the long term.
Yeah.
But the last thing I did was around Grammys, March, and I performed 2 songs. And I think, like, with church is different because when you get up there, you've already done intercessory prayer. So, like, you've already had a good hour.
Yeah,
to
you
get
done had
into
the
it.
anointing. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like,
Praise and worship done kicked in and all that.
and then, like, nobody messes with the choir, praise and worship team.
Yeah.
Like, you in the back, you go straight to the pulpit. So it's kind of like, it's different when you're an artist. Like, you really have to set those boundaries. And a lot of times people get upset with you. It's like, what you mean I can't be in the dressing room? What you mean? It's like, nah, I need my time. I need at least 20 minutes before I go on stage. I need quiet. You really have to draw that line so that you can get into the mode. So that when you do step on stage, the first thing, you're not thinking about, oh my God, like, because there's just this automatic thing that happens where you start breathing more rapidly. It's adrenaline, like, it's a rush.
Yeah,
not necessarily fear, but there's like chemicals that get released in your body. So you have to, like, prepare yourself so that when you walk out there, you own it, you're calm, you shift the energy to you.
Absolutely.
And you can push your energy all the way to the back of the room, no matter how big it is. It's really important for you to have that time. So as you grow, as you, like, gain more respect, as you put more points on the board, people don't look at you funny when you ask for those things because you're not supposed to ask for that. If you're a new artist, it's like, you should just be grateful to be here. But yeah, I make sure I definitely, like, I need my time.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to party.
Yeah.
It's serious.
You take it because it is serious to you. It's important. So tell me about the process of you going to Def Jam. I know that you've had so many offers, and I like I said, I follow you on Instagram. You enjoyed the independent thing, and it was just. How did you decipher? Okay, this is where I want to be when you had so many people coming at you.
I think it's just like, I had to get quiet, and like it's a spiritual choice. And I had a bunch of people telling me that Tunji was the right fit, and just like people who I've known throughout the course of my decade being in the business. And I had known Tunji working with a few of his artists before, Normani, Fifth Harmony, through Normani, through Fifth Harmony. So it wasn't a hard choice. Yeah. And plus, too, like, I wanted to go somewhere where they was going to let me do me. So I have a JV. So it's like I'm still operating how I was before. They just support me, like give me unbelievable, incredible support for everything that I'm trying to do. If I want to direct my own videos, if I want to, whatever, they're just there to help me. And it's also, I felt like my ultimate goal was to always be, the name of my label is Supergiant Records. So that literally means the largest star in the galaxy. So that's what I want to be. That's my aspiration. And there is a limit to what you can do independently.
Absolutely.
We definitely broke the glass ceiling. All the sort of like markers that they use for limitations on, being a Black woman, being over a certain age, being independent, doing R&B music. It's a lot of things that I had going against me, putting out music in the fourth quarter. All of those things.
All the things
literally
they say
everything.
No, right? They say, no, you can't do. You shattered those glasses.
And that's when I had my success. All of the things that they say you can't do, I had. And so I think psychologically that does something for you when you just like, so these rules are fake. And I don't want to hear nothing about no type of limitation because...
Nope.
For what?
Like, for what? Because I already proved to you that this can be done.
It can be done. Anything that you want is possible. You have to be consistent. You have to have crazy faith.
I was going to say, and patience, too.
Patience.
You got to have patience and belief, man.
Tenacity.
Crazy tenacity.
Because a lot of people thought I was cray-cray.
No. And when you believe to that magnitude, it's hard for people to understand who are not in that frame of mind to really grasp that. They can't understand that type of belief.
Now,
that takes some real deep stuff.
In the most free form business, because it's literally like make it up as you go. I have never met so many people that don't have the faith for it. Girl. Why y'all in the way? Y'all in the way.
Y'all just gotta move. Move.
It's so crazy. It's like literally you wake up every day and just decide, like, I'm going to make this song. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to make this plug. None of it is scripted. None of it is like
So why don't you believe on this level?
Like, there's a limitation to your belief. Like, you could do all this incredible stuff until you
reach
here.
This. And then they say stop. That's why I'm like that too. Like, you got to get out of my way. Like, if you don't understand it, if you can't believe in it, if you can't march in that same path, you got to go. Because there is a different type of belief you got to have for this culture, this business that's going to take you to levels that you can't even imagine. But if you have those people that are like, well, girl, well, that can't happen. Out of your why are you doing that? Oh, you...
Well, I think this is where, like, having a deep knowledge of the law of attraction, because it's just like gravity. It's like, even though you can't see it, it's there. It's holding you down. And so same thing with law of attraction. Even though you can't see it, it's happening. Everything you say, And so your words are really, really powerful. And the way that I explain it is like, if somebody calls you a bitch, you feel it. If they say it the wrong way, it's going to piss you off. It's going to make you mad. You're going to start acting on that. It's going to enact a series of events that may or may not be good. If somebody tells you they love you, that hits you a certain way. Your son, your mother, your significant other. So it's the same way with other words. I think we just water it down. We don't pay attention as deeply. And so I just make sure that I keep that energy contained. if I sense by your talking that you're not a faith person, I don't share with you because you're not going to help me get to my goal. You know, and so
you can't have those conversations with everybody.
as soon as I hear it, okay.
Yeah. My mother always taught me that. You know what I'm saying? My mother is an evangelist, so I always knew, like, some people you can't really have that type of talk with because they're never going to understand it, and you'll be frustrated trying to explain it to them. So the best way to do it is just show them through action.
Just do it. Find people who are willing, who have passion, who do things without you asking them, who take initiative, who are ambitious, who have creative, like, flair, like I call it self-localization.
Yeah.
They do things because that's what they like, not because that's what's the popular thing, the trendy thing, or what somebody else told them they should be doing.
Or it's innately in them, right? It's their gift to share sometimes with the world. Like, I feel like sometimes...
Or just a fearlessness.
Yeah,
you know?
That too.
Just a fearlessness of like, you know... I want to paint this purple. I just want to try. I just want to see what it's going to look like, you know? And if it's ugly, okay, we tried it. You know, It's like whatever.
Right.
And to find that in this business is very difficult. It's so difficult. It really is. And maybe it's because there's a lot of people who like had dreams and they couldn't quite get it.
There's this book. You have to read it. It's called The Artist's Way.
I have read that book. I have.
It's such an amazing book.
It is. It really is a good read. It's like a workbook.
It's like a workbook. It's such an amazing book. And it's like for all creators. And sometimes you just got to create. I mean, it's I could go on and on, but the fact that you read it, you get what I'm saying. It's such an amazing book for just people in this creative space to understand the creativity process and why it's important for you to create and be fearless in your creation. So for those listening, you have to, check out that book. So let's talk about the album.
Yes.
All right. So details on it, like let's jump into it, the making of it. What do you love most about it?
Well, I mean, I make a lot of music in like spurts. So I'll go in for like a week and come out with like 70 songs. And then I'll pick from there which
70,
one.
Lord.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I can make like 10 songs. I think the most I ever made in one night was like 13.
What?
Yeah.
That's
but sometimes
crazy.
it won't be like full. It'll be like maybe
Hook.
8 full songs,
Okay.
a verse, chorus, and I'll come back to it like, because I don't judge anything.
Yeah.
How
do you pick your beats and stuff like that? Is it like certain producers you like to work with?
I think it's just like in me, like baked in from just so many years of doing it. Like if it's nothing that catches me in the first 15 seconds, I'm like, what is that thing? Like, when you hear it in a stadium or like when it's at a concert, I want the crowd to be screaming from the first few notes because they already know what it is. And then also too, I know exactly what kind of music I want to make. And so that's pretty easy. Like as soon as I hear something that's like,
so what
on
is
the floor,
that?
808.
What is that?
Right now it's like that. Remember that time in music, like early 2000s, late 90s, when cultural music was pop? Not necessarily R&B, but like culture was pop. That's what I want to do because that's what I grew up listening to was TRL 106 in Park. And I do believe it's possible again. And so that's what I'm going for. Definitely more like soulful R&B stuff. More, I would say, more on the progressive contemporary side. Because I like to talk my trash. You know what I'm saying? And just like vocally challenging. I think I'm going to get more into like club stuff and things that you could play in a club. I never thought they would play hours and hours in the club. Now that
I know they play it.
No, that hit different because that's another thing. They say you can't play ballads in the club. They be in the what you say, the $5 Hennessy club. They be in the $5. You see on the Shade Room the dude doing the splits. I was like, oh Lord. But they really be in there singing it in the club. It's crazy. I haven't experienced it firsthand. Because I've been, staying at home. Just working. But I would love to experience that. Like being in the club full of.
So is there anyone on your album in particular that you was like, I have to work with this person, or I had to like experience music with that?
Well, I did. I just was talking to her yesterday, Cash Doll.
Oh, I love her.
I love Cash Doll.
Hi,
She's
Cash.
so pretty.
She's a friend to the show.
Yeah, so she's gonna do a verse for me on a song that I have. I want to collab with everybody. So like, I literally don't have
Are you gonna reach back out to Drake? Because that was a big thing.
Everybody keep asking that. When the time comes for that, it'll happen.
Yeah.
I think we probably would make some incredible music together because he's so brilliant. But I don't know. It's like I'm gonna let that happen.
Did you get rid of that boyfriend, by the way?
Absolutely. That was years ago. I was so young. I'm married now. I've been married for 8 years.
Ooh, child. I've been married for 4. Isn't marriage a work?
It is, but it's beautiful when you figure it out.
Yeah.
What
Am I still in the honeymoon phase? Because 8 years is a long time. I'll be 4 in August.
I don't know. I feel like honeymoon phase is like 2.
2? Okay.
2-3 years from like 4 to 7.
Because I love being married. Like everybody be like, "Oh, marriage is work." I'm like, what? I love being married. It's so much fun and you just be with your partner.
Friend,
yes.
Yeah. I think though it's it just pushes the parts of you that aren't necessarily developed, and so it just pushes you to check on it and fix it.
Yeah. Okay. So I got that part coming, huh?
I mean, you never know what challenges are going. Everybody's relationship is different.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys already were where you needed to be.
Yeah, that's true because we did get married later on in life, so that's a good point too. But okay, so that part will come. So Cash Doll's coming to the party album. She's gonna give you a verse. Anybody else out there that's like, dang, I really want to work with that person.
I want to work with so many people. Beyonce, The Weeknd, Giveon, Summer, SZA, Ari Lennox, Ariana Grande. I have no
fear,
limitation. Elton John.
Yeah.
Muse. I'm into rock music.
Wow. I was going to ask you what other genres do you like to experiment with?
Classical, country, jazz. John Batiste is amazing. He just won all those
awards.
Grammys. He's incredible. I just want to create. I want to make music. I want to be a mad scientist and just make stuff. Kanye, Kendrick, Baby Keem. I don't have any.
Is Kanye one of your favorite? Who's your favorite hip hop artist?
He's my favorite artist. Kanye. I wouldn't even say rapper. He's an artist. Yeah. So Kanye's my favorite for sure. I would say some of my other faves Queen is one of my favorite bands. Definitely listen to a lot of Aaliyah, Janet Michael.
Nice.
Avant.
I love
people be sleeping on Avant. Avant had the jams.
Is one of my favorites. He got some classics.
I've been trying to get in with him for a minute.
Why do people always leave Avant out the R&B conversation?
Because I think he was just so smooth and cool. He wasn't with all the yip yap.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
He wasn't
but he had them hits though.
Yeah, he
had
did.
them hits, child.
The song with Kiki Wyatt.
What? But even beyond that, sometimes I put on my Avant playlist when I'm in that space, and I'm like, damn, Avant has some
a lot.
What was it? 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. That was my shit.
My First Love.
Yes.
He has Nothing
so
in This
many
World.
Classics.
So many, a bunch, and he wrote pop songs. He wrote for Pussycat Dolls, Stick With You.
Yeah,
he's just so
amazing.
Talented. Yeah.
Are you still gonna be writing as well for other people? Or are you gonna put that on hold right now?
Well, I think you just have to whatever you focus on is what you attract. So I want
is music.
I want to be the biggest thing popping ever for as long as I can until I get tired, and then just if I'm collaborating with the person, it's a Muni Long and such and such, that's different. But of course, I'm gonna contribute my songwriting ability, but I don't have time to stop focusing on building what I'm building to go over here,
make you a hit. Yeah,
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, what would you say is your biggest inspiration at this point for you to keep going?
I love to see the babies singing the songs. The 1-year-old babies, they can't even talk, and they're like, yeah. I can't, or they be like, it's just oh my God, there's something vibrational, frequency wise happening with the music. They can't even talk. It's how do you explain that? There's no marketing. Yeah. There's no nothing.
They just love it
that you can contribute or attribute that to. They just feel it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And obviously somebody had to play it for them, but it's that, seeing the babies and watching them get so excited to see me and be crying. It's oh my God. You're so cute, little black girls. I just love it. So that's so inspirational for me. It's like,
I love
all the BS, it doesn't matter because look at this little princess.
Look at this little baby.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for stopping by today. It's been amazing talking to you. I'm sure I'm going to see you again.
Yes, ma'am.
And one day we got to get you on that Summer Jam stage. I know we tried to work it out this year, but with all the craziness and stuff like that. But no, definitely. We're going to get you back again.
By the time I come back, I'm going to have way more hits, about 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
So we're going to get lit on that stage. Yes. Don't worry. It's going to be all good. Again, thank you so much for stopping by, everybody. It's Muni Long. Give it up.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. It's Hot 97.